Hello everyone. So it's 9:30. Let's start the session. I hope I'm audible. Hello. Am I
You are
audible?
audible, Sanjay.
Okay, fine. Okay, please let me know whether you can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, fine. So welcome to the session on build your own Power BI dashboard. So the main aim of this session is to teach you like how to build a nice dashboard about yourself on Power BI. Now, one of the questions which people might have with regard to this session is, so Sanjay, if I build something like this, will I get a job? So let me tell you very clearly that if you are looking for opportunities or jobs, make sure that you build an ATS resume, right? So in resume, you have different standards. So one such standard is ATS. So if you build an ATS resume, that will help you to get interview calls, opportunities, etc. Now, whatever session which I am going to host now with regard to Power BI dashboard is, it is purely creative kind of thing you can say. So this is not something which is like something which will get you a job, but definitely it is something which shows your creative side. So that is the first thing I wanted to make it clear so that it will not be like misleading. And definitely it will gain a lot of attention if you post on LinkedIn. So earlier I hosted one session on how to build your own dashboard using Excel. So the same concept. Now I'm hosting the same session on Power BI. So the look will be very similar, but slight modifications will be there based on that. So as to take the advantage of Power BI. So the reason why I talked about this right from the start of the session because this point I wanted to make it clear because there are some people who asked me this question last time. So keep this point in mind, but definitely it will help you. Now, some of you may ask, okay, fine, Sanjay, this is okay. You're saying it is only for just showing the creativity, but will it add any value? Now, I am someone who believes that presentation is as important as the skills which you have, right? So, at the end of the day, if you ask me, 50% is about your skills and 50% is about your presentation. So, from presentation perspective, yes, it definitely helps you. So, I will tell you why I actually prepared this, okay? So initially, when I built my resume, I felt it is fine. So one of my mentor has given me a suggestion that Sanjay, why don't you build your resume or dashboard on Power BI? So at that time, even though I like the idea, I did not know where all of that fits. Okay, so okay, fine, I will build a dashboard on Power BI, but where exactly would it fit? So that was the question. So when I tried to answer that question myself, it felt like time waste because at the end of the day, what's the point of building something which does not have any value, right? Then when I thought about it, a lot of people said, Sanjay, why don't you include it as part of your portfolio? That is something which many people said. So I felt that okay, this makes sense. And what I have done is I found a purpose for it. So the purpose of building something like this was, as you guys know, I built my product portfolio, which I shared on LinkedIn also. As soon as you click on my profile, you will see it, right? So what I have done is, along with my Power BI projects, so these are all my Power BI products which are compiled in the form of a single PDF. So this PDF will contain all my Power BI projects which I posted on LinkedIn. So after posting all these projects, I mean putting all these screenshots, I felt that okay, fine. If someone wants to know who is this guy, so who is the guy who made all these things? Then I felt that I can probably put my profile at the end, right? Rather than putting a Word document kind of resume, I thought, okay, this particular kind of dashboard fits well with the other things, right? So these are all Power BI projects. So rather than me giving some vertical resume, which we build on Word document or probably on Canva, I thought why not give a resume which is like built on Power BI. So this is like a dashboard, you can say. So that's when I found a purpose for this and then I decided to build it. So whenever I use this, I only use this as part of to put it as part of my portfolio. Other than that, it is just for showcasing. That's it. So this is one use case which I found because this will give you the uniformity. So when you are sharing five of your projects, so the sixth one will be your Power BI resume. So it will fit very well in this context, but other than that it is just a creative pursuit. So this is the use case of building a dashboard like this. Now, first of all, many people ask me, okay, Sanjay, you built something like this. This is looking great, no doubt about it. But if someone wants to know more about you, like why don't you take advantage of Power BI features? This is one question which people asked. So, a lot of people saw the screenshot on LinkedIn and they thought that, okay, this is just a visual dashboard. That's it. There is nothing to interact with it. Because generally, dashboards means you will not have any slices and dices. So, you have to understand the difference between a report versus dashboard. Report means you will have everything to interact, slicers, you can click on the visuals, you can do a lot of things. Dashboard is something which shows the summary. So one thing which many people need to understand is dashboard will never give you a full information. Dashboard is always a summary. So if you give full information, then it will not become a dashboard, it will become just your resume. So you are just converting your Excel file into a Power BI dashboard, that's it. So at the end of the day, dashboard means it should just give you an overview. It's like a bird's eye view. It is not something where you will go into details. But still what I have done is I have added hyperlinks around all this dashboard, the entire dashboard. So for example, if someone wants to know about this, if they click on this, it will directly take them to my website where I have all my credentials. So let's say if someone wants to see my projects, right? So if they click on this, it will take them to the projects URL in my website, in my portfolio website. So people can go to the website and see all my projects. So everywhere I added links. So if someone wants to know, okay, fine, here I gave college talks. If someone wants to know what college talks I have given, if they just control click it, they'll go here and here they can see all my college talks. So it has all the list. People can browse and do whatever they want. So that is little bit of interaction which I added here. But other than that, this is the look of the dashboard. This is how it looks. Now I'll get into the tutorial. Before I get into the tutorial, if you have any questions, please ask me. Any questions? Hello?
All clear as of now.
Okay, fine. Fine. Okay. Now let me start the tutorial. So some of you may have Power BI, some of you may not have installed it. So you can either follow along or this session is being recorded. So once the session is over, I'll upload it to YouTube as well. So you can just watch it. And if you want to follow along, that is also fine. So first thing what you have to do is first you open a new Power BI file, right? So go to new and probably open a new Power BI file. And now you will get a blank canvas. Okay, so this is a blank canvas. Now what you have to do is always whenever you start any report, it doesn't matter whether this is a your own dashboard or project or whatever, first you have to decide about the canvas size. So this white space which you see in the middle, this is called canvas. So canvas is the space where you are going to put all your visuals. So the first thing is you have to decide your canvas size, right? So some people build dashboards vertically, from top to bottom. Some people build very wide dashboards. So you need to decide about the aspect ratio. Now if you look at this dashboard is wider than the usual 16:9 ratio. Generally, if you go to Power BI here and if you go to Canvas settings, so this is the standard setting which is there, 1280 into 720. So basically it's like 720p you can say. So it is 16:9. Now it again depends on what all things you want to put. So initially when I started with these dimensions, I felt it was not sufficient. So what I have done is I have actually expanded the canvas. So the canvas size is 1410. So in 720 is same, the height of the canvas is same, but I have actually increased the width to 1410. So the first thing you have to do is you have to increase the canvas size to whatever information you want to include. Now if as soon as I change it, the width of the canvas has increased. And the next thing what you have to do is once you set the canvas size, second thing is you have to choose the background. For example, if you look at this background, this is not pure black background. So at the glance it looks like okay, I have just used some random black color, like pure black color. But when you use pure black, what will happen is it will not give you the nice effect. Whenever you are building any dashboard, it doesn't matter whether you are using it for background or for text labels or whatever, always use a subtle black. Means for example, if you look at the if you look at the code, this black is not pure black. It is somewhere outside of black. See, pure black will be this. If I just move around, so this will be pure black. You see, the look has suddenly gone. It is not looking as good as before, right? So whenever you are using black, always try to use black which is not completely black. It is somewhat grayish kind of black. You know, little bit of white should be there. So this code is probably something which you can try. So the hex code is six threes, you can say. This will give you the look. If I again show you what I mean, you see the look is gone. It doesn't look good anymore. So always remember that whenever you are building dashboards, never use pure black. Always use a different version of black. Even if you look at my website also, here, this is not pure black which I am using. This is also a subtle black. The code for my website is, I mean the background color in my website is 242323, right? So somewhere you have to go with 20s or 30s series. Either you go with 333 333, or you go with this is exactly what I use for my website. So this is the hex code. So these are little different versions of black, but definitely they'll add little bit of good, like a rich effect to your dashboard. So that is the first thing. And the next thing which you have to remember is, if you look at if you look at the settings, one is the canvas background. The second setting which you need to take care is wallpaper. Now what is the wallpaper setting? Like, how does it matter? It Yes, it does matter, because whatever canvas you have is black color, that is fine. But what about the area which is outside of canvas? Maybe if you are using Power BI desktop, here it will not make a difference. You see there is a line separating right here, and also this side, left and right side. So this part is the canvas part. This part, the middle one. Whatever you see on the right side, this rectangle and this rectangle is outside of the canvas. That is the wallpaper. So for example, if I put white color in my wallpaper, what will happen is it will remove the look of your dashboard. So what will happen when you publish it to the Power BI service, it will actually show these bars on the left and right. So if you are going to publish it to the service, then probably you should match this color with the background canvas color. So these are two very important settings, especially from presentation perspective. So one is the canvas background, second one is the wallpaper, and the third part is about the black color. Not pure black color, you have to use somewhere in 20s or 30s range of hex code, right? So these are the three important things you have to remember to make sure that your dashboard will get very nice look. Okay, so that is first thing. So what I will do is, now once again I'll just open this, and once again I'll do it. So if you have any questions until this point of time, please ask me. So I'm just changing the settings. So first I have to change it to custom. So it is 16:9 by default. I'll just change it to 1410. It is done. Next, canvas background. I have to go to more colors, and then I have to give this hex code, as well as in the background also I have to give it. Now even though I changed the color, you see nothing happened. I'll show you why it did not change. So why it did not change? Because here transparency is 100%. Whenever you choose any color, if you want the complete color to be displayed, then you have to reduce the transparency to 0. Then only it actually works. Otherwise it will not work, right? So these are the first three settings you have to do if you want to build a dashboard. Now the next thing is data. Data preparation is very important. So because if you want to display all this data, so let me close this. Okay, if you want to display all this data, you need to have a backend, right? So somewhere the data must be stored. So if you want the dashboard to be live, that means whenever you want to update something, you update that in an Excel file or probably in a SharePoint list, whatever, and that should get reflected here. Okay, so if that has to happen, if you want to have the live data feed kind of thing, then you need to have some data in the backend. Now what I have done is I have actually used Excel as a backend. So in this Excel, what I have done is I have put all my information in different tabs. So for example, first one talks about my Microsoft certifications. Second one talks about my competitions, college talks, education, internships, live projects, places where I stayed throughout my life, and then trainings, and then this is led to my work. So what is my work experience, how many years I worked, what sector did I work, all these things. So you have to build this kind of thing in the backend, so that what will happen is, tomorrow if I do another certification, for example, so if I add a 10th certification, then what will happen here, if I go and click refresh, here the MS certifications will become 10 instead of showing 9. So as soon as you update here and save the file and then click refresh, everything here will get updated. So if you want to have that kind of convenience, then you need to really organize your data very well in a way where you can easily update it. So if your backend data is not good, then obviously it will make it very difficult for you to update your dashboard. So generally what people do is, people think all these numbers which they see are just hard coded. These are not hard coded values. All these values are actually linked to the Excel file which I am just showing you right now. So that is very important. Now the question is, how do you actually bring this entire data into the Power BI? First, what you have to do is, you have to import this data. So you have to import it from Excel. So once you import it from Excel, like all the tables which you saw, then you have to actually connect these connect these tables to the calculations behind. Then only this entire dashboard will work, otherwise it will not work. Certain values are hard coded, certain values are dynamic in nature. Okay, so let's get started with the building of tiles, different tiles which are there. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll wait for a couple of minutes and then I'll proceed forward. Any questions?
Not from my end.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, so now what I will do is, I'll try to get the Excel data. So I'm just copying my path. I'll say import data. So I'll go to that path. Then I will say Sanjay information, that is the name of the file. And as soon as I select that, then it will give me different options like what all things are there. So these are all tables and these are all sheets. You don't need to worry about it. I mean, you can just create all these tables, and then while importing, you have to select everything. So if I just have to repeat, what I did was, you can either click here, or you can also, once let me expand the ribbon, or you can also click on the top also. So if you click, it will ask you where the Excel file is. Then you have to double click on it, and then you have to select all the tables you want to import. So I want to have all my tables, so I'm selecting everything, and then I'll click on transform data. And as soon as I click on transform data, what will happen is, it will take me to Power Query window. So this window gets opened in the backend, and here if I have to change anything, I just have to make those changes, and then I have to say close and apply. Right now I'll not make any changes because the data is standard, right? So it doesn't matter. Okay, now my data got loaded. Now the first thing I have to do is, I have to think about what visuals to use. Now, if you just think about the center canvas, whichever you're seeing in front of you, it is actually good thing to start with simple visuals. Okay. So what are simple visuals? Are these cards, I would say. So the first thing what I would do is, I'll first bring my image, and then probably this name I'll write in the form of text. So first I'll go here and I want to get my own photo. So to get the photo, what you have to do is, you have to go to insert on the top and click on image, and then I'll double click and my photo is here. Now I can choose my dimensions of the photo later. I can adjust it always. My photo is here. Now what I have to do is, I have to bring my icons also. Here you can see three icons, right? So here it talks about my email. Here it talks about my website. Here it talks about my LinkedIn profile. So all these three icons I have to get. Now the most important thing is, when it comes to icons, right, when it comes to icons, whenever you are using any icons, if you want to get that very sophisticated look, always use PNG icons. So I observe a lot of people who use JPG. Now the issue with JPG is, background also comes along with JPG. So for example, if you try to import any JPG icon, what will happen is, along with the icon, the background of the icon, which is like white color, also will come into picture. So when you go with PNG, what will happen is, let me just show you. So for example, if you see this, background will be blending. So the icon is transparent. So if I have to explain you what is transparency, for example, if I go here and if I change the color, so let's say if I change it to blue color, the icon remains the same. So as you can see, the background also became blue. The reason why it happened like that, because this is a transparent icon. Now if you bring a JPG icon, what will happen? Even if you change the background, these boxes whichever are there, it will still show black color only. So that is the difference. Whenever you use any icons, always try to use PNG icon so that you will have transparency. So depending on the background, it will also blend along with it. So always use PNG icons whenever you are trying to build any kind of dashboard. So you have to resize them and then you have to put them properly, right? So again, I'll bring another icon, right? And probably another icon. So this is one aspect of it, right? Now how to make them clickable, that is the second part, right? So I have brought three icons, which is fine. Now if someone clicks on this icon, they should go to my website. So how to do it is very simple. First, I'll go here, I'll copy the URL of my website, then I'll select this icon and go to format. Now here you can see a small box called action, right? A small drop down. So here I'll just select action on, and then what I want this icon to do is, I want this icon to take me to a website. So here there is already an option called web URL. I'll select web URL and then I'll paste it. Now it will start working. If I just click on this, it will take me to my website. It is working, right? Again, I'll show you. Again, if I click on this, it is taking it, right? So obviously this icon is working. Now the second part of the icon is, when I hover, it should show me what it is. Right now it is showing control plus click to follow here. But I want something else to be shown. I want it to show that as soon as someone hovers their mouse, it should show it is my website. So in order to do that, what I have to do is I have to go to tooltip and then I will say my portfolio website. So what tooltip will do is, as soon as I hover, instead of giving some other message, it will actually say that it is my portfolio website. So it is just hover, I am not clicking here. When I hover, it will show like this, and when I click it, it will take me to the website. So two parts. The first part is you have to add the icon. Second part is you have to make the icon interactive, so that when someone clicks it, they'll go to that particular place. Same with LinkedIn, the same logic will work. Here you will turn on the action, then you have to go to the web URL and I have to paste my LinkedIn profile. And here in the tooltip, I'll say LinkedIn profile. Here also it works the same. Whatever link you paste, it will go exactly there. And the same thing here also. This also works in the same way. Now here the issue is, because this is an email, you can just make it like web URL if you want, and you can say mail to, and you can put two dots, or some, if you don't want any of that, what you can do is simply you can put tooltip. So in the tooltip you can write sanjaychandra@outlook.com. So now what will happen is, when you hover, it will show your exact email ID, right? And here back button doesn't have any kind of utility. So even if it says back, nothing will happen, right? Even if I click, nothing will happen. So that's how you can insert icons and then you can make them interactive. So like I mentioned, whatever icons you are choosing, always choose PNG icons, because PNG icons are transparent. So this is how we made our icons transparent. Now the next part is this part. Now many of you might be wondering, okay Sanjay, like this looks like very simple thing. These are all just boxes. So is there any specialty behind it? Now there are three important things you have to remember about these styles, all these styles. The first thing is about these styles. All these styles are dynamic. Like I mentioned, everything is backlinked to the Excel file. And the second part about these styles is they all have clickovers, right? So whenever you click any of those styles, they will take you to my website, to the relevant section, not to the home page. So everything have a clickover. So basically everything is linked. And the third thing is, you can also dynamically change colors, right? When I posted on LinkedIn, I couldn't showcase this due to some technical issues, but you can dynamically change colors. So let me give you an example. So what color you are seeing right now for all these tiles? Can anyone tell me? Hello? Correct.
Blue.
Yeah, it is blue. Now what if I thought maybe blue is not looking so great. Maybe I have to use magenta or teal or probably some lavender, that kind of thing, right? Because blue is not the only color, right? So if I get an idea like that, what I have done is I have actually linked it with a DAX measure. So this is my DAX measure. So right now I have kept this color. Now let's say I felt maybe this is very boring. Why not put give a lavender color? So what I will do is here I'll just change my measure here and I'll click OK. Now what will happen is suddenly all the tiles will change into that color. The only limitation here is these visuals don't support it. Only for these two visuals I have to manually change it. Otherwise, if I just go here and change the color code, immediately everything will change. Everything else except these two visuals. I am still working on it. That's why I couldn't showcase it on LinkedIn. So similarly, let's say I want, let's say green color. So I can just copy this code and put it here, and if I go here and say all my tiles got changed to green color, so I don't need to actually change everything manually. Everything is automated. So like this you can so let's say someone wants magenta, right? So even like different color palettes you can choose. So someone wants red, someone wants teal, someone wants, let's say, this bluish color, you can say. I think this is teal only, I'm not sure. So let's see what this is. I think this should be blue, if I'm not wrong. Purple, right? So I have different colors here. So the point is, it is not just manually done tiles. All these are linked together and everything is dynamic in nature. Like I mentioned, only these two visuals are not actually dynamic due to certain limitations. I'm just trying to figure out an alternative. So how did I do that? First of all, so I'll show you just now how exactly I have done it. Okay. So first, what I have to do is I have to go and insert a shape. Okay. So this is in the background, I'm inserting a shape. Now what happened is as soon as I inserted a shape, it has actually occupied the front end portion, right? These are layers. So these are in the second layer and this is on the top layer. Now I want this rectangle box to be in the background. So to do that, what I have to do is I have to go to format. I have to say send to back. It is just similar to PowerPoint. If any of you use PowerPoint, most of you are already familiar with this functionality, nothing new about it. So it went background. Now what I have to do is if I go here and if I go to style here, right, I have to first click on this. Then if I go to style, what happens? I can choose any color I want, right? Now the issue is I can't keep doing everything manually by going here, selecting a color. Again, I have to go, now let's say there is another tile here, right? So there is one more tile, then there is one more tile. I should not manually go here and again go to style and manually change it. So what I have done in my dashboard is first I turned off the border, and here you can see something called conditional formatting, right? So first what I have done is I have created a measure like this. So let me just copy this measure, and here I have to go to new measure. So I'll click new measure and I'll copy it. So I have given the measure name as color. So basically a measure is a calculation which you perform in Power BI with your data. So here I'll click OK. Now what I'll do is I'll select all three of them and I'll go to this f of x, which is the conditional formatting, and here I will say it is based on field value. So there are three rules. Either I can put it by rule or gradient, or I can also choose the field value. I'll go to field value and select the calculation which I just created right now, and I'll click OK. Now whatever these colors of tiles are there, these are actually now being controlled by the measure which I created here. So for example, if I go here and if I select this one, let's say blackberry color, something like this. So what will happen? Everything will change at once. So only thing is here, maybe if you want, you can change the border also to the same color. So here you can actually select border also, or you can turn it off, whichever way you want. So now all these colors are controlled by this one measure. If I make one change here, everything else will change in the rest of the place. So again, if I put green, everything will become green. So that's how you can dynamically control something. And of course, if you want, you can put a slicer here and do a lot of other things as well. But I'm just showing you the functionality. That's it. Now, when it comes to the rest of the tiles, so this is a shape which I inserted. But the problem is, if I insert a shape here, it cannot be dynamic because I have to put a calculation so that it will be dynamic. So for example, my work experience or whatever. So in order to do that, what I have to do is, I have to insert a card instead. So I have card visuals here, right? So right now what I inserted is a shape. It is just a shape. I'll go to insert and I can insert whatever shape I want. But because these tiles are dynamic in nature, for example, all this, I cannot go and insert a shape. I have to insert a card. So I'll go ahead and insert a card. And now I want to know my work experience. So how will I get my work experience? If I go to my data and if I go to my work experience, so this is where my work experience is there, and here I can calculate. So it is in a table called work 9 and there is something called duration. Now I have to create a formula here. So what I will do is I'll say new measure. I will say work experience and I will say sum of work 9 and then I have to say duration and I'll click OK and I'll put here. So it has given me some value. Now I'll reduce one decimal. So maybe I'll put only one decimal, right? Now it is automatically showing 5.5 years. And probably I'll adjust it with whatever adjustment I want. And now I want to make this one dynamic, the color. Now again I'll go to settings and here because this is a card, the place will be different. I have to go to general and then I have to go to background and then I have to go to field value and then I'll put color and I'll click OK. Now this is also getting controlled by that. Now because this color got changed, this one probably I can put it white, both of them. And generally what I do is I prefer Sego UI. So Sego UI is the official uh, font which is used by Microsoft everywhere, right? So I generally use Sego UI everywhere as much as possible. Or the default font which Power BI offers is DIN. This is also good. Both are good. But generally I prefer Sego UI. And similarly I'll copy this and here. Now if you think about this, the second tile is MBA. So this one you can do hard coding. You don't need to actually, you don't need to actually link it dynamically. Here either you can insert a shape or you can insert a card. That is optional. Wherever numbers are there, you have to insert a card. Wherever numbers are not there, hard coded, there you can put either your card or you can put a shape, right? That is the difference. So here I have kept this. So let's say I want to talk about my MBA. I can just copy the shape here. I can put this here and probably on the top of it, I can insert a text box. I'll go here. Probably I'll put a text box and I'll say MBA and I'll make the font size very big, right? And now the background color is again issue. I'll go here and link it. So once I link it, it should not trouble me anymore, right? So I will just make it this color, right? And here also you remember guys one thing, I don't use pure white color anytime, right? So this is pure white. I always use little gray. Once again it will give you a little bit of sophisticated look if you use little grayish white, I would say, right? So this one I can always hard code, right? So MBA I have hard coded, so I can always adjust it in whatever way. I can probably middle align it and probably I can adjust the position of it in whatever way I want, right? So it is here and probably I can create another text box. So here I can say finance, MBA finance, and probably I can put a smaller font size here and here I can probably put it like this, right? So this one again, you have to make adjustments, you have to choose the right font size. Maybe 54 might be better, we don't know. Like this is all, it should be done with experimentation and it will take a lot of patience also. because it again depends on personal preferences, like how do you want to place it, what font you want to use, etc. And rest of the tiles logic is very similar. I'll just copy this, probably make it little small, right? And obviously I'll reduce the font size. In the callout value, maybe I'll put 36 only. And here the category label is on. So what I will do is, here I have to talk, let's say I want to talk about internships, right? I'm just giving an example. I will say internships. I'll just rename it here. Here also it got renamed. And now I have to put my internships. So I'll go to internship. Probably I'll put organization name and then I'll say count. And here probably I have to rename it. Sorry. Yeah. So two internships are there. Once again, I have to go and adjust it properly to make it dynamic. Now, next time what will happen is, so let's say I go here and I add a third internship, right? So some XYZ company, let me not put any dates here because right now we are only counting the number of rows, right? For the organization. Now what I'll do, I'll click on refresh. It is refreshing and my internship did not update. So let's check what is the problem. I have to save the file, I guess. So let me try it again. Yeah, so it got updated. So it got updated to 3, right? So earlier I did not save the file after putting the value. So let me put 4. Now let me put ABC and now I'm saving my Excel file and I'm going here and I'm clicking refresh. So it changed it to 4. Now let's say in my work experience, let me add 4 here and let me refresh it here, right? So, okay, I have to save it again. Sorry. Yeah. Now if I just refresh it, so it got changed to 8.3. So as you can see, it is dynamic in nature. Whatever changes you make in Excel, all you need to do is save the Excel file, close it and click refresh. Everything will get updated in a single go. And let's say if you want to change the color, I already showed you. You go to this color measure and change this X code and it will change. You can even have a slicer also to make those changes. So that is how the basic logic of this works. Now the next point is word cloud. Now I have tried many visuals for word cloud and what I found was I was not really happy with it. So this is a word cloud which I created manually. Okay. So either you can create this word cloud in a PowerPoint and take a screenshot and put it here, or in Power BI itself you can just use these text boxes, right? You can use these text boxes of different sizes without any background color. You can turn off the background and probably you can type whatever you want. So you can randomly paste these things here. So it again depends. There are some visuals, but I haven't liked them. They were not up to the mark, if you ask me. So probably I can put finance like this. I can embed a word cloud here itself, whatever I want. And here also I can adjust these gaps. So it's all personal preference. So that's how you can build tiles, and that's how you can build a word cloud. Now let's talk about these visuals. So for example, this visual, I'll tell you how exactly I have done it. So first, if you want that visual, there is something called gauge chart. Also we call it speedometer. You put that visual here and now it will ask few things. First thing is the value. Now what I can do is I can go to my education, right? And here I will say my marks, which will come under value. And then I have to say it should be sum of, which is fine. And then the scale means what? If I go to my Excel, scale is the maximum. So for example, some B schools have, for example, IIMs have a scale of 4. Some B schools have a scale of 8. Sometimes you may have a scale of 100 itself, like universities will give percentages. So like that you have different scales. So I have added one column in my Excel itself to talk about the scale. So now what I have to do is I created this chart. I have to go to filters here and now I will select this and here I will select class 10. So it is showing 81 out of 162, which is wrong. So what I have to do, the maximum value should be the scale. I'll put the maximum value here. Now it is saying 81 out of 100. Now it is showing me correctly. Now all I have to do is just turn off the background. So I'll turn off the background. I'll put a title class 10 and I'll make it semi-white and I can put it in the middle, right? And here I can change the fill color again. So this fill color, so again I'll go to field value and I'll link it to my measure. I'll click OK. So it got changed. And similarly all the target values, everything I'll put it in the grayish color. So this is ready. Similarly, I'll just simply copy paste it and here I'll select class 12 and here I'll say class 12. Similarly, I can say BTech here, right? I think you got the idea. So here also again I will go ahead and change bachelor's or BTech, whatever, right? BTech. So similarly I can add an MBA. So I can just align them properly, and that's how this gauge chart is made. So the most important thing here is you need to have an extra column called scale, so that you can put that scale value in the, you can drag and drop it and put it in the maximum value. And the second thing is here you have to go to colors and dynamically link it to your measure, so that when you change the color there, everywhere it changes, right? The same dynamic linking we have done for the rest of the things. And similarly, if you want to do a donut chart, here also I'll show you how to do it. So what I'll do is I'll click on a donut chart here. So this is donut and this is pie chart. So it is again a personal preference which chart you want to use. And now what I'll do is I'll put my work experience, probably my work experience duration in the values. So this is the duration. So since I have changed it, now it is showing 8 point something, right? And now I will say probably sector. So sector will go under legend. And now here I'll go back and change it again. So here I will say 1, or I'll copy this formula. I'll save the Excel file and click refresh. Let it show the right value. Yeah, it is showing the right value. Now I'll take my legend and put it at the bottom, right? And I'll turn off my background. So my background is turned off. And now I'll put my slices. So the first slice should be, so like I said, there is no dynamicity here. I have to manually choose the colors here. So that is the only limitation, only this chart. And for values also I'll put this color. And probably I can give a chart title for this. Probably I'll say sector. I'll make, I'll middle align it and I'll put it like this and probably increase the font size. And even for the legend also, I'll turn off the title. I'll go to text. I'll put it like this. And probably if I want to match the exact color, so I'll just copy this hex code. I'll go to slices and I'll put it here. So this color also got matched. And here again it is preference. Either you want to use this color or pure white color, right? For energy, which color you want to use. So that's how you'll get it. Now as you can see, the issue is it is showing so many decimal places. I want only one decimal place. So I'll go to duration and I'll put one decimal place here. Now it is showing only one decimal place, right? Now it is showing correctly. In a very similar way, I can create another chart which is for field. So one is for sector, one is for field. Now let me talk about the right side. Now this right side one is very simple, very straightforward. It is again, text box. You can create a text box. So for example, let me copy this. Just give me, okay. Now I will say management trainee and I'll make a very small font for this. So I'll put it here. Now I'll copy this and I will say assistant manager. So this is also static, hard coded. And here I'll go to shape and I'll insert a line. Now here you can see the line is actually horizontal. I want a vertical line. So it's very simple. You go to rotation, turn it 90 degrees, it got rotated. And now you can simply go to style and make it that color and turn off the border. Probably the border also I have to put because this is a line, and the color got changed. And here you can make the line a big one like this probably, and you can send this line to the back. Now what will happen? The line went back of these text boxes, and this one I'll copy, and here I will say now here a small slight variation you have to do. Okay, now if you look at this is a contrast color. The text color is white, and the text color is blue, and the background is actually white. So here I have to invert it. So how do I invert it? Very simple. So I'll go here, I'll select this. Yeah, so one way to do it is I'll go to properties. So here it will not work, as you can see. So what I have to do is here for this box, because it's a dynamic in nature, rather than going for this text box, I can go for shape also. Even shape also works, because in shape also you can add text here. Okay, so here also you can add text. Probably I'll say btech. So depending on the dynamicity you can choose. So for the rest of them also I can use text, not an issue. So I'll select it, right, like this. I'll select, I'll choose the height, later I can adjust. And here what I can do is I'll make it dynamic. So the font color should be my green, right? I'll make the font color to be green, and my background color I'll change it. My background color should be gray, this one. Now what will happen? It gets inverted. So if I want to match the height of it, the height of it is 37. Probably here also I'll go and put 37 to match the height, right? Now what will happen if I go and change the color? So here also it changes, you see, the btech became blue now. So that's very important, the dynamicity, right? So as you can see, everything is changing as expected. So those small things you just need to take care, and similarly you can build the rest of it. And the final part is once again the icons. If you want icons to look really nice, either you have to go with, I mean, there are three formats. One is svg, second is png, third is jpg. The best icon format which I recommend is svg, obviously, because svg can do a lot more things, but svg is unfortunately not supported by Power BI to import. So the next best option is png, so you have to use png icons. So whatever icons you are seeing here, all these are png icons. That's why they are looking really nice without any background. They are all transparent icons. So whatever technologies you learned or whatever skills you have, you can put them here. So I thought initially I wanted to put them at the bottom, but again I felt on the side they look nice. So I just kept them on the side, right? So that's how you can actually build a dashboard like this. So this is the logic. Any questions until now regarding this? Any thoughts?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, please repeat the color code option.
See, it is very simple. See, if you want to know color codes, see what I have done is I have created a measure. The measure name is very simple. I said color equal to double quotes. This is the hex code. So colors, see, generally you can represent the colors in three ways. Okay. One way is RGB, second one is CMYK, and also another way is there. I don't remember what exactly that is. And the third way which you can do is hex codes. So three ways are there to represent the colors, most popular ways you can say. Now either you can have RGB code or you can have a hex code. But in DAX generally when you use it supports hex codes. So you have to go with hex code. So hex code means what? So it will have six digits with a hash, and these six digits will go from I think from 0 to A, B, C, D, E, F, yeah, up to F. So 0 to F is the configuration which you have for hex codes, each digit. So generally when we go with 1 to 100, we use a binary, I mean we use the up to 10, we use a 10 base, right? So what we'll say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, After 10 is over, we'll say 11, 12, 13, etc. When it comes to hex codes, what will happen is it will go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. After 9, it will become A, B, C, D, E, F. Then again, it will become 0. So the configuration will be different. So if you want to know the exact hex code, you can search online for color palettes. There they'll give you RGB or hex code, both of them they'll give. Hex codes are very popular whenever you're using any Adobe software, like Photoshop or uh, like the After Effects and other ones. You can find all these things, like hex codes and everything. Just online you can type, and these are all different hex codes which I have chosen personally. So you can have your own hex codes, whichever you feel like. Is it clear about the hex codes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Another thing, sir. Which visual effect should I need to use in different?
No, can you repeat?
Hello.
Yeah, please repeat.
Sir, how do we know that which visual effect should I use for the different criteria of?
Yeah, see, that is subjective. At the end of the day, you have to do some experimentation because it can be difficult. Some different visuals will look very well in different contexts. So initially, when I started building this dashboard, it was full of visuals. Then I felt there are too many visuals, very difficult to absorb the information, and then I have kept cards. So it is like purely subjective, I would say, because different visuals in different contexts looks better. For example, initially I used a pie chart, then I felt a donut chart was better. It is all just trial and error you have to do regarding this. Only thing which I would suggest is if you are using any kind of comparison, then go for bar charts. See, different charts serve for different purposes. Now, if you go to Google and if you say what type of chart, and if you go to Google Images immediately, okay, this is Bing. Let me go to Google. Okay, what type of chart, and if you go to images, there will be one. So there will be different things. So this is a very famous chart. So whenever you're doing, so let me just open this in a new tab. See, whenever you're doing any comparison, you go with column chart or bar charts. Whenever you're showing any kind of distribution or composition, then you go with either pie chart or donut chart. Now, for example, here if you see, I am talking about my total work experience of 5.5 years. So I wanted to show the breakup of it. So to show the breakup of it, what charts are suitable here? Either I can go with waterfall, or I can go with a stacked column, or I can go with a pie chart. So donut and pie chart are synonymous. Because I'm showing the composition, I went for a donut chart. So here I wanted to show the marks, percentage, CGPA, whatever you call it. So here I'm doing a benchmarking, right? So this is benchmarking. Okay, out of 100, how many marks did you get? Or out of 10 CGPA, what is your total CGPA? So whenever you're doing any benchmarking, so one visual which you can use is the KPI visual, which is default, one of the default visuals. And the second one is the gauge chart. So gauge chart, what it will have? Gauge chart will have a target, and also it will give you the maximum value and minimum value. So since I am not doing any kind of comparison here, I am only talking about the standard, right? The standard is 100, and I have to get as many marks as possible. So that's why here I went for a gauge chart instead of going for KPI chart, because I didn't feel KPI chart was relevant. So I went with the gauge chart. Now, similarly, when you talk about the other charts, okay, for example, here I am talking about different kinds of skills. So when you go with different kinds of skills, obviously word cloud will make sense, right? So whichever skills you have strength, you'll make a bigger word cloud of, the size of the word should be bigger, and whichever skills are still like you don't want to emphasize or you want to put them in the background, those will be smaller. So whenever you're talking about text analytics, word cloud is good. You can do sentiment analysis and other things. But in this context, since I wanted to emphasize about the skill set, I went with a word cloud here. And similarly, when you talk about these cards, the reason why I went with cards because there is no benchmark here, right? Think about it. When you go with marks, there is a benchmark. Okay, you need to get 100 out of 100. But when you talk about an internship, there is no benchmark, right? You can do 100, you can do 200 internships also. There is no benchmarking which is there for any of this. So what I felt was it doesn't make any sense to use charts for this, because there is no benchmarking. That's why I just went with the card visuals. But here you can see it makes sense. For example, here I wanted to showcase the breakup of my work. So this is the total experience and this is the breakup of that experience. So you have to really look at the context before you decide what chart you have to use. So are you doing any benchmarking? Are you doing any composition? Are you doing any comparison? Or are you showing any kind of distribution? Are you showing any kind of relationship? So depending on the context, you have to choose the right chart. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, got it, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Hi, Sanjay.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, I have one question like, can you different dynamic colors for charts and cards?
Yeah. You can, yes, you can use. See, I just showed that linkage because it is just I was showing an option like how you can use the measures to control the colors. You can actually use
But
whatever colors you want.
no, no, I am saying that kind of different between color we can give as a static way, but I am asking in a dynamic way. You are showing dynamic way, we can change all slides color for in a single color.
Right.
But I am asking, suppose I want for charts I want yellow color, but for cards I want blue color. Will it be possible?
Yeah.
Oh,
So, okay. So just to give you an example, I'll go here. So what I can do is I can manually go ahead and bring color. So I'll erase this one and here probably I'll choose just give me so here probably I'll choose yellow color, right? So you can do it. Whatever color you want, you can do it. You can create another measure. Maybe one measure to control the colors of the charts and one measure, or you can make them independent. So if you don't have a measure, so let's say if I change color of this, again I have to go back and manually change the colors of others. You can put them independently or you can control them with measures or you can make it static.
yes, for measures, can I create two different measures? Would it be possible?
Yeah, definitely. So for example, this is color, right? Color for cards, let's say. So I'll copy this, I'll paste a new one, and here I will say measure for charts. And here I'll probably copy teal color and I'll put it. Now what I'll do is I'll select all three of them. I'll go to colors. I will say charts, color charts, the second measure. Now I'll go to the second measure and now I'll go here. Sorry, I'll go here, copy it and paste it. Now my charts are independent. So for charts I can control from here and for cards I can control from the other measure. Yes, it is possible.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, Sanjay. Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah. So you had shared another report which had your work experience visualized in an path kind of a visual.
No, that is not a dynamic one. It was manually created. That is done on Excel.
Okay, so it was done using shapes and normal text.
Exactly. Yeah. Normal text and shapes. Yes. That is static only. That is hard coded.
Mhm. Do we have any custom visual as such to show that?
No, we don't have, unfortunately. Even I also searched for it and I couldn't find, and finally I had to hard code it.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So if you want to create something like this on Excel, if you go to my YouTube channel, I already uploaded a tutorial maybe 6 months back. So that one you can watch. It is like, I mean, almost similar approach, but in Excel context. So there, what I have done is the cells itself, I have linked them. So rather than creating shapes and others, only for the work experience part, I have created shapes. So the implementation in Excel will be different, but the look will be the same.
you. And it's the image that has been brought here.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Sanjay.
Yeah. Hi.
Satish here.
Yeah. Hello.
You have added the for gauge chart, you added a scalable in your Excel sheet.
if in
Yes.
case I have a data in SCV or any other format, in the Power BI we can add a column, right? From there is option transform or data. So if we want to add a column as scalable as one, directly we can add an additional column, right? We can do it that way also, right?
Yeah, yeah. See, in Power Query you can add, or with the DAX you can add a calculated column also. Yeah, you can add. No issues.
Okay, okay, okay. So just for the regarding the gauge chart, I just confused. For example, if we have a number, so maximum, for example, as you said that for percentage we had 100,
Yeah,
and for other perspective we created 10. So we
right.
have to add two columns so that become for metrics we can use those.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions?
So it is necessary to ask the question which is
Hello?
directed to us. So can I ask a different question, which is based on Power BI only?
Okay.
Yeah, sir, actually, I have been practicing on Power BI and almost last 2 months, and I have created 2 to 3 projects on the same. But when as you told in your last webinar that take the screenshots of the same and send it to the recruiter. Yes, I have been sending it, but I haven't getting any recall from them. And I also personally think that my dashboards are pretty good compared to other guys. I searched on them on LinkedIn, so I think my dashboards are also pretty good. But I'm not getting the reason. What is the exact reason? I'm not getting a call back.
No, the last part, can you please repeat?